Game corporations and studios keep releasing bad games, be it Concord, Dragon Age the Veilguard, Star Wars Outlaws, Unknown 9, and so on. And it seems that they never learn. They are determined to keep failing and losing money. Billions and billions of dollars go into the trash can every year, and it is only about the money they lose. I'm not even talking about how much they lose in potential money that they could get if they would actually listen to the gamers and make good games. So that's what we're gonna discuss today, because it seems counterproductive. If both things are true, that bad games equals less money and what corporations want is more money, then why there are no more good games coming from those corporations? A paradox. In one of my videos about corporations, I said that they fell out of touch, but this statement is kinda shallow. So in this video we will actually talk about it on a deeper level. Who is to blame? Why it happens? Why they're getting away with it? Why they never learn? And how much longer it will continue? But first, some may ask, why do you think that making good games is profitable to begin with? In the end, the objective of those corporations is to make money. Maybe making bad games is the only way to make games while being profitable. Literally not. Look at Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. It sold around 8 million copies over the years, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 sold over 1 million copies in a day. Yet Dragon Age the Veilguard engaged 1.5 million players. Engaged doesn't mean sold. Probably the sales are around 1 million. And they expected 3 million sales, and they failed to sell 3 million copies. And let me say that even 3 million copies for such a famous IP, intellectual property, as Dragon Age is a pathetic number.
Pathetic.
Again, comparing to a no-name game like Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, 3 million copies is a pathetic number. If BioWare would release a really good Dragon Age game, it would have sold easily over 10 million. Yes, maybe it would not sell 10 million in the first day, but in 2 or 3 years, easily. But that's not gonna happen till they keep releasing bad games. For example, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which is Mass Effect remasters, have exceeded EA expectations in terms of sales. It turns out that if you release good games, people buy them. And it is not even a new game, people literally have played those games, but it was a success anyway. But that's all about famous IPs like Dragon Age and Mass Effect. When we're talking about less renowned IPs like Unknown 9 Awakening, at least tens of millions of dollars were wasted, and the peak online of the game was below 300. So if Dragon Age the Veilguard returned at least some money, the less renowned IPs lose 100% of the invested money. If only the resources that corporations are pouring into the games that are gonna fail would be redirected at games that the gamers actually want, we would get a Game of the Year worthy game every month. And it is not like we didn't know that Veilguard or Star Wars Outlaws and the likes of them are gonna fail. It was not a surprise. Everybody knew, but it didn't stop the development. So why does it happen then? With renowned IPs, the answer is actually pretty simple. And the first thing I must point out is how the reputation works in the gaming industry. Usually, people decide on whether to buy the game or not, depending on the company's previous games. For example, if The Witcher 3 was a good game, then probably Cyberpunk 2077, the next game of CD Projekt Red, probably is gonna be good as well. So there's that inertia in the gaming industry that can really mess up the perception of the companies on whether it is a good or a bad game. So if the studio releases a worse game than their previous games, it will still have good sales, especially if it is a renowned IP. And here, we must talk about the impact that IPs have. If I'm a Dragon Age fan, there is no other place where I can get a Dragon Age game besides BioWare. Nobody can offer a different Dragon Age game. In that regard, games are different from regular products that you can buy in a store. For example, imagine that there is only one car available for purchase. It is a nice Hellcat. But then their next car that they are selling is a pink Mini. And they don't produce the Hellcats anymore. The pink Mini is your only option. Yes, you can still buy a bike, but if you want a car, it is a pink Mini. With game IPs, it is basically the same thing. You are forced to buy what you don't like because you have no other choice. Now, before we move on, hate to ask for it, but subscribe to the channel. If you got to this point, you clearly like it. So make yourself comfortable and subscribe to the channel. I make videos on a broad variety of video game topics, such as a video about forgotten aspect of fun in games, or a video about what Oblivion Remastered changed, or a video about Sekiro after 6 years. So subscribe and check them out later. So because of that IP effect and the effect of inertia in the gaming industry, the games that would normally lose a large amount of sales immediately are losing them slowly. And when things are going south really slowly over the years or even over the decades, it is hard to catch the moment when things went wrong, and those things themselves. But even then, not everyone wants to admit that they were wrong, because of the pride. And because of those factors and how slowly things are going south, it gives a good cover-up for the upper management of those companies and studios to cover their failures. Often those people think that they are better than regular gamers. They're like, I'm an accomplished businessman, a CEO of a multi-million corporation. I know better than those puny gamers that probably didn't shower for a month. So there's that. And even when things go wrong, not a lot of people have the self-consciousness and courage to admit that they were wrong. You know what they say about frogs? That if you put them in warm water and raise the temperature really slowly, they will not try to escape and eventually boil to death. Well, I'm not sure about the frogs, but it is definitely true about humans. All of those factors combined with pride leads to slow disaster. But right up until recently, it didn't matter much because there were not a lot of games being released. But now, with the new technology, it became easier to develop games. It is easier for small studios to create high-quality games that look and feel just like big AAA games, but with good plot and gameplay. And it matters because no matter what people say, the truth is that gamers like playing games that look good. Some people claim that there's a AAA bubble, that quote-unquote graphics are boring, and stuff like that. The sales numbers, though, tell a different story. There is no AAA bubble because gamers want to play AAA games. They are not forced to think that it is cool to play AAA games. They're just tired of playing games that are boring and not appealing. Games that are wrapped in a AAA wrapping paper with a bow on the top, when the actual content inside the box is rotten. People want AAA games to be good, and recently we're getting more and more games from relatively new studios that have AAA quality. And we get that because of the new technologies. And that's why I don't share the hate towards Unreal Engine 5 that everybody trashes lately. Yes, it has its issues, but it is a good tool that gave us many good games. Silent Hill 2 Remake, Stalker 2, Black Myth Wukong, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Alan Wake 2, Oblivion Remasters, and many more to come. Now, before, we didn't have many options, and because of that those studios were really chill. Because there are not many good games coming out. So again, gamers were forced to play low-quality games. But now,
times have changed.
We have a lot more options, so gamers are choosing to not play low-quality games more often. So, answering the question of how much longer it can continue, not for much. With rising competition, the studios and corporations will be forced to change or die. And that's a good thing. As I said in my Why Stalker 2 is important video, let them die. And don't be afraid of losing your favorite franchises. IPs are the most valuable property of the companies. They won't just disappear forever. Eventually they will have a new life. Now let's conclude it all and answer all the questions I asked at the beginning of the video. Who is to blame, why it happens, why they're getting away with it, why they never learn, and how much longer it will continue. So, the companies release bad games and never learn because it is hard to detect when and what went wrong. When it does happen, they don't want to change anything because they are getting away with it. Because for a long time they didn't have a reason to change anything. Because the gamers didn't have a lot of options but to play their games. And for the question of how much longer it can continue. Not for very long. Yes, it doesn't mean that they will not release a single bad game. It is a process, but we're on the right path. And there is no turning back, which is good. And that's it for now. Again, if you got to this point, you have no excuse to not subscribe. So do it. And check out my other videos and leave a like. See you later.